looked at the direct strategies that interest groups use. Let's look at the indirect strategies that they use to advance their interests. Reaching out to persuade the public that their position is right, interest groups deploy citizens as grassroots lobbyists, and they engage in electioneering. These two activities are examples of indirect strategies that interest groups use to pursue their public policy agendas. Indirect tactics are likely to be ongoing rather than targeted at a specific piece of legislation, although that is not always the case. Interest groups work hard and use a variety of strategies to make the public, government officials, their own members, and potential members aware of issues of concern and to educate people about their positions on the issues. Some interest groups focus solely on educating the public and hope that through their efforts people will be concerned enough to take steps to have a particular policy established or changed. Thus, the groups promote civic engagement by informing individuals about important policy concerns, even if the information they provide is skewed toward the group's views. The groups also encourage civic discourse by bringing issues into the public arena. Often they do so by mounting advertising campaigns to alert the public about an issue. Sometimes interest groups and corporations engage in climate control, the practice of using public outreach to build favorable public opinion of the organization or company. The logic behind climate control is simple. If a corporation or an organization has the goodwill of the public on its side, enacting its legislative agenda or getting its policy priorities passed will be easier, because government will know of, and maybe even share, the public's positive opinion of the organization. For example, when Walmart encountered opposition to the construction of its superstores in communities across the country, it relied on public relations techniques, particularly advertising, to convince people that Walmart is a good corporate citizen. As critics complained about Walmart's harmful effects on smaller local merchants, the firm's ads touted Walmart's positive contributions to its host communities. When opponents publicized the company's low-wage jobs, Walmart countered with ads featuring employees who had started in entry-level positions and risen through the ranks to managerial posts. These ads were viewed both by policymakers, municipal planning boards, for example, and by citizens whose opinions matter to those policymakers. Other groups, especially those without a great deal of access to policymakers, may engage in protests and civil disobedience to be heard. Sometimes leaders calculate that media attention to their actions will increase public awareness and spark widespread support for their cause. Interest groups often engage in the indirect strategy of electioneering, working to influence the election of candidates who support their issues. All the tactics of electioneering are active methods of civic participation. These techniques include endorsing particular candidates or positions and conducting voter registration and get-out-the-vote drives. Grassroots campaign efforts often put interest groups with large memberships, including labor unions, at an advantage. Campaign contributions are considered a key element of electioneering. The importance of contribution puts wealthier interest groups, including corporate and business groups, at an advantage. If you look at this chart, it shows the breakdown of contributions by incumbency status. For this chart, we see that incumbent candidates have a significant edge in raising money from political action committees. The data indicates that most PACs recognize that incumbents, who are most likely to win re-election, are best situated to look after their interests after the election. The issue of party affiliation also matters to political action committees. Business PACs and individuals with business interests make up the largest sources of revenue for political candidates and tend to favor Republicans over Democrats. Labor groups and individuals associated with them give overwhelmingly to Democratic candidates, but they contribute a great deal less money than do business PACs. Ideologically driven PACs and individuals are nearly evenly divided between Democrats and Republicans. Interest groups also commonly use the tactics of endorsements and ratings to attract support for the candidates whom they favor to reduce the electoral chances of those whom they do not. Through endorsements, an interest group formally supports specific candidates and typically notifies its members and the media of that support. An endorsement may also involve financial support from the interest group's PAC. And by the technique of rating candidates, the interest group examines candidates' responses to a questionnaire issued by the group. Sometimes a group rates members of Congress on the basis of how they voted on measures important to the group. The ratings of a liberal interest group, such as Americans for Democratic Action, or a conservative interest group, such as American Conservative Union, can serve as an ideological benchmark. Let's go back to this chart. In 2014, the midterm elections cost was about $4 billion, and that is a midterm election. That is not even a general election. So it's going to be interesting to see how much the 2016 general election costs. But what else could we have bought with that $4 billion? Well, we could have bought 25 F-18 fighter jets or put 12,000 students through K-12 education, just to put things in perspective for you.